Hi everyone, welcome to the 47th episode of the Zicast. As always, I'm your host Ryan Zicast, and today I'm joined by Acro-Tumbler, Katherine Carter.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, and I'd also like to shout out the Aaron Russell for stepping into TD once again. So Katherine, this show I interview my friends and I get to know them better, and I'm really excited to hear about your experience here on campus and being an athlete. So if you don't mind telling us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Katherine Carter. I'm from Dover, New Hampshire. I'm on the acrobatics and tumbling team, and I'm a marketing major here at Quinnipiac, and I'm excited for today.
Awesome. Tell me a bit about being from New Hampshire. You're the first New Hampshirean to be on the show.
I get that question a lot. It's pretty similar to anywhere in New England, but it's just really pretty. Got really pretty trees up there. Got great lakes, great beaches. It's just a fun area. Kind of more chill down there, I would say. It's not as outgoing as I would say Connecticut is, but yeah, it's not that bad.
Interesting. And now I'd like to get into your career. So for our first topic, I'd like to ask you what led you to becoming an Acro-Tumbler.
So actually, I didn't know what acro was until my junior year of high school. I was always a gymnast, then led to cheer. So originally I got a call from the coach here at Quinnipiac, Mary Powers, and she kind of introduced me to what the world of acro was, and I got into it a little bit from there. And she kind of gave me pros and cons to the sport, and she said, if this is what you want to do, this is perfect for you, and if not, then she wishes me well in the other paths. But just acro was really something I fell in love with just from the start. I knew I didn't really want to continue down a path of gymnastics or cheer, so she really opened my doors up to this world, and it's been amazing ever since.
Tell me about some of the pros and cons of acro-tumbling.
So for pros, I would say it's a lot more slow paced than, like, I was in competitive cheer for a while, and it was just a constant, like, a 2-minute routine, and it would be kind of like go all the time. And I really like how this is just step by step, like event by event. It's very slow and it's like very just relaxed compared to it, and I think that's always just been something that I've done better with. And I would say cons, I don't really have any cons. Acro's always been something that I've always loved, so ever since being here.
Awesome. So also on that note, take me through the experience of being a D1 athlete, and just like give me the day by day, 'cause that's something I'm always fascinated by.
Well, my days are very different. So for today, for instance, I have a 10 a.m. class, but we have practice from 11 to 2, and we usually have lift 1 to 2, so we'll end a little bit, like 15 minutes early, around 1:45, to clear up our mats and put everything away. Change, head over to lift. I usually last an hour, and then after that we get treatment in the ATR, just so we can recover our bodies, do ice baths, stretch and roll, use blocks. And then usually a lot of us have to run to our 2 p.m.s. Like half of us will have 2 p.m.s or 3 p.m. So we'll get out 15 minutes earlier than maybe some other people on our team. And, and then we eat, to run to classes, got to get our homework done. It's a very fast-paced lifestyle. I think my busiest day, though, is Wednesdays by far, because you have like 3 classes throughout the day, and you don't really have time to go home and change. You have to shower and eat and get all that stuff done that, before and after practice. So it's just kind of stressful in that sense, but we all manage to get it done, and we all have fun doing it. So, yeah.
How do you juggle the responsibilities between being an athlete and then being a student?
I've kind of struggled with that part. That was probably my biggest struggle going into college, was the time management of it all. I really, planning is my biggest best friend here, just because I'll use my agenda from the beginning of my day to the end of the day, just to make sure, I have time for this and time for that after. But I've gotten used to it. It took a turn for me around, say, sophomore year, that I finally got it down, because freshman year that was my biggest struggle, was trying to get all my homework done before classes, or making sure that I was prepared and I had food in my stomach before practice, and that's probably, I would say, my biggest struggle for that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and I'm not a D1 athlete. Take me through some of your favorite memories tumbling.
Ooh, I would say nationals my freshman year was it was crazy, because we don't ever really see all of the same teams in one place. We usually just face one team at a time. and going to nationals, that's the top 8 teams, I want to say, facing each other. So say we get into semis, we'll have other teams who maybe got knocked out coming to watch us, and it's nice to see, like, you know, we never really get to see people one-on-one, and if we get knocked out, then we'll then go and support them the next day, so it's just kind of fun in that sense. But yeah.
So there's like a sense of camaraderie even with other programs.
Yeah,
you would say.
I think the love that we have for each team is just amazing, because you don't really see that much sportsmanship, I would say, in like maybe other sports that have huge rivalries, and I think that we're all very respectful for each other, which is something that's really important.
So there's more of a community in the acro-tumbling world. It's interesting. What schools would you say, like, if you were to have rivals, which schools do you think your team would have a rivalry with?
I mean, the number one seed is Baylor, so I think if anything, we don't really have any rivalry towards them. I would say we don't have anything but respect. But definitely Baylor, and then there's always Oregon. That team's always fun to face. We faced them last season, and it was a good time. So yeah, those two for sure.
Yeah, some really big programs.
Yeah.
And it also leads us well into our next topic, which are, what are some of the most rewarding and what's the most rewarding and the most challenging aspect of doing acro-tumbling?
Every time I step on the mat on game day, that just the adrenaline, like, I feel from the crowd, from my teammates, like when we do well, that's the biggest reward, especially when we win too. It's just the most amazing. It's the most surreal feeling, because then it's something I can't even describe really, because it's just it gets me on my feet every time. For a struggle though, I think dealing with the pressure before, I have to calm myself down with my anxiety, like before we go out on the mat. It's just learning how to deal with the adrenaline that I get, and also staying in the moment. So I think that's one of my biggest struggles.
Yeah, if you don't mind, take me through how you handle those pressures. 'Cause I know, like, in the sport like gymnastics, it's very mental. Like, I think of the Simone Biles situation from a couple Olympics ago, where she had what's the term? It's like the dizzies or something, where
the spins.
The spins, yeah. Where she can't, like, she had trouble like perceiving things. Like, tell me about how you prepare to go in like a acro competition.
So before each event that I'm in, that I will go out, I usually just picture myself doing it 3 times before actually going out there, and that always calms me down, because sometimes I could freak out and I forget where I am and I mess up something, and I just get in my head. But visualizing it and really just slowing it down has always helped me in that area.
And on a similar note, take me through the thrill of winning, because you said there's nothing like it, and that's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like if you can find some words to describe like an intangible thing like that. Exhilarating.
Undeniable. My coach loves that word. But last year, that was our word for the season, just undeniable. You can't deny the talent that this team has and the love that we have for each other. So when we win, it's just like we won as a community, and it's amazing.
And take me through like what a practice of yours would look like too.
So we'll split up so we have acro and we have tumbling. It's in the name, but we have we'll have like some practices dedicated to tumbling, because it takes a lot of like energy out of our body to do both in one day. So we have to really focus on one or the other. So if we have a tumbling day, we'll just put all of our focus on there. Our coach usually lines us up to warm up from side to side, and then she'll like, okay, go hit the corners, and we'll do some of our best passes, really get like a few reps in there. And then we have duo, trio, quad that she likes to run a lot too, that we'll get in our groups, and she'll send us out and we'll time it. The timing is obviously, like, in my opinion, the biggest struggle in like tumbling rounds, because if it's not on time, then it just doesn't look as good. But they do a good job at really rehearsing that with us. And then on acro days, it's really different, because acro can vary. It can be, we have acro round, pyramid round, toss rounds, team event. We haven't really started looking at the team event yet. It's just majority been, like, they split up usually from like tosses for like, I would say 45 minutes, and then I don't know, it kind of varies. Like sometimes we get into our reps and we like to hit. If they don't look good, then we like to keep going until they do look good. So I would say that, you know, it's really like it's what we want to do in the moment. I don't know, like.
Yeah, like
if
very
that
day by
makes
day.
any sense, yeah, day by day.
It does make sense, yeah. And explain some of the drills, like passing, things like that. Explain that to me, if you don't mind.
The drills?
Yeah.
So for example, for an acro sequence, before we never just do the whole thing first time. We have to warm it up. So we'll do miniature versions of it. Like if I have to get thrown up to the top, if someone's throwing me and they're going to catch me at the top, we'll do a drill of them holding onto my foot and coming back down. Or for tosses, for example, have you ever seen a toss before in acro? Like a back tuck, for instance. Ways we warm up is just doing like a straight toss. So we'll just throw us up. We won't do any skills. We'll just come back down. They'll catch up. They'll catch us. Or we'll do I forget what this drill is called because I never do tosses. But we go down, down, down 4, and like the top will remain on the hands the entire time. And then instead of actually just going, because if we throw it randomly, maybe someone gets hurt. So that's why we like to drill it. So before just doing it don't just do it the first time.
Interesting. So it very much combines elements of like cheer and gymnastics.
For sure.
And by the sounds of things, very trust-based.
Yes.
So how do you build that trust with your teammates?
That's so funny you say that. I've always just look at the girl next to me like, yeah, you got me? And they're like, yeah, I got you. And then we all know what we're doing. We're all D1 here. So, I mean, and plus we're all really close with each other, I would say, as teammates. So I'm looking at the girl next to me like, yeah, I trust her 1,000% of my life. It's so crazy that I never actually like sit back and like realize we throw each other into the air and we just catch each other. Like that's just so funny. But yeah, no, I've always had like a sisterhood with them. So I never for a second would not trust them with like in that skills. It's
very, very intrinsic.
Yeah.
The ways that you're able to kind of sync up mentally in that way. And what ways like would you say you build up team morale or build up that sisterhood that you're talking about?
We do a lot of team bonding. We have committees on our team, so there's certain people in charge of team bonding or like snacks, for example. But we do a lot of team bonding skills with each other. We did one like 2 weeks ago that involved, it was like minute to win it or something like that. And it's just like we rally each other up and just really get that good connection from, I would say team bondings carry us for that.
And that's kind of the way you help to build that community and you help to build that trust.
Exactly. Yeah.
And is there anything else you can really add about the acro-tumbling experience, like to tell the audience who doesn't know much about it?
Yeah. Like you want to know like as a sport of what we do?
Yeah, really like as a sport.
Yeah.
Like talk to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so you've seen gymnastics, you've seen cheer. This is very much it mixed together. There's certain events like acro is compulsory is the first event. It has like the basic skills all into one little round. There's 4 heats inside of it. So a rule about acro is that there can't be too many crossovers in one round. Like you can have like, I think compulsory you can have as many as you want, but as we go throughout, like there's going to be tosses. Only 2 people can cross over, I believe. I could be totally wrong. But as like, and then there's a tumbling round. There's a team event, which is like the very last thing. And I think honestly that's like the most fun part because it's everything that you watched in the beginning crammed into one on the end. And we have like fun music in the background that, we have people create, and I don't know, I love it so much. Like it's just like something I feel like I don't know how to explain. I can only tell you to go watch it, and like you can get that feeling because there's a feeling that we create on that mat for everybody in the audience, and they love it, and we love it. It's something I recommend going to.
All right. That's a great plug.
Sorry, I feel like I'm bad at explaining that.
No, there's certain things, it's just hard to put into words.
It's so hard to put into words. It's just such a feeling that you get.
Like a rush, and those are the things that you can seek out in life. Like, it's hard to define love. Yeah. It's something you feel.
Exactly.
And I think that leads us well into me asking you some questions about yourself.
Yep.
So to start things off, like, what are some things that people may not know about you?
I mean, that's a tough question. I don't know. I mean, I learned how to do a flip before I could tie my own shoes, like if that's anything. But it took me a while to tie my shoes for some reason. That was something that was like my kryptonite. I couldn't get that in the check, but I could do staying tucks or staying fulls before I could do that. So
speed running. Yeah, it's funny some of the things we can do that like are very high level, and then some of the things we can't do that are very
like the most simple things. That's my struggle.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like any other fun facts you'd say you have about yourself?
I mean, I always get asked about this scar that I have on my arm. I broke my arm literally on Christmas Eve in 7th grade, and you can feel I don't know if I can like pull the sleeve up right now, but like
Ooh.
I have this huge scar on here.
Mm.
I literally get asked about it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I tell people for fun. Oh, I got bit by a shark. And they don't believe it. They believe it for like a second. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. I was riding my bike on black ice, broke it. 2 plates, 9 screws. That was it.
I mean, you'll get someone with the shark story someday. You should have just said
I've
it on
gotten
here.
a few people.
You should have said I got bit by a shark.
I should have
on
just
here.
went with that one.
Yeah, and we could have saw what the World Wide Web would think of that.
I'm like, I like to tell people the most far-fetched stories about that. But no, yeah, I just was riding a bike on black ice Christmas Eve for no reason.
Tough timing. That's a tough.
Such a
tough
bad
Christmas gift.
Such a bad Christmas.
Yeah. The black ice that stole Christmas.
No, I don't know what was going through my mind. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea.
Well, you lived and you learned.
Yep, that's for sure.
Exactly, just like you learned to tie your shoes.
Yeah, I got there eventually.
So, we know you probably don't like black ice. So I'd like to ask you, what's one thing you love and one thing you strongly dislike?
I do not like running. I've never been a fan of it. I just can't do it. I mean, obviously I can do it, but I just choose not to. I do, however, love like yoga. If I had to choose anything, like so some of my teammate Maddie Aiello, she doesn't run it. She like teaches a hot yoga class in Pilates, and I've never really been into hot yoga before. Just never done it, and ever since then I go literally every single week to her classes, and I've just fallen in love with it. It's become something I've been looking forward to every single day. So that's something I've been loving a lot lately, for sure. And I recommend anybody that's listening to go to that because it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean that very much makes sense with what you're doing, like flexibility based.
Yeah.
To like go to yoga, like how would you say it helps you?
Well, honestly, I feel like our minds are just active so much throughout the day that we never get a chance to actually just be in the moment and relax. So Maddie at the end of each class, she has us take a moment and like breathe and just be like, and she tells us these motivational words and says like just like be where you are in your mat at this moment and just really be with yourself. And I just always think that's something that's been helping me calm down, especially on my busy days where I'm stressed out. It just really gets me to appreciate the moment that I'm in.
You find your zen.
I find my zen all right. That's for sure.
And I think that's definitely vital with what you talked about, like preparing for the competitions themselves and the pressures that come with that. It's great to kind of pull from that very mindful mentality, if that makes sense, to be able to calm yourself down and perform.
Yeah, for sure. But maybe I'll tell her to do that before meet days.
Yeah.
To get us all calmed down in the same place. But yeah.
And it's great that you found something like that could impact you so positively.
Yeah, it's nice because I feel like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have like that outlook where I could be like just me and myself in that moment, not worried about A, B, C, you know what I mean? Exams, practices, like the outside world. I just am with myself in the moment. So I've always loved this class so far.
And what other ways do you try to keep yourself in the moment?
That's a good question. I mean, if I find myself stressed out, I just like to go on a walk. Like I'll just calm myself down, or I'll just talk to my friends. Like, I love ranting to my friends. Like if that gets me to be anywhere at peace with myself, just having somebody listening and me talking to them, that's just something that's always been like a good outlook in a sense, other than hot yoga. But
we know you don't go running for some relaxation. I mean, that makes sense because running is always the punishment. Yeah. And like every single sport, like I used to play track or do track, however you phrase that. And like I'd see the runners and I never like understand it. I'm like, I've always
admired like people on that team. I'm like, wow, good for you, because I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would always be like, yeah, like that's the punishment for like all the other sports I play, and you do this.
Yeah, you messed up here, go run. Like it's always just like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, it very much speaks to like the rush of athletics in that way. Like you said, that's like hard to explain. I feel like that's what runners have. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
And very much moving forwards, I'd like to ask you, what are some of your hopes and dreams professionally or in general?
For professionally, I would say I hope my senior year win a national championship with my team. That's the goal. That's the dream. And for an individual, I would say, I mean, I really would like to be an All-American one day in the sport. That would be amazing. So yeah, those are the goals. Those are the dreams.
Interesting. And even like professionally, like moving beyond your time here at Quinnipiac.
I mean, I really just moved to a place. I mean, my goal, I guess like my 5-year plan, move somewhere in North Carolina, get my dream job. I've been really into anything marketing. I love social media. Start a family, just be happy. So,
the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards.
So you want to go to North Carolina, so somewhere warmer.
Somewhere warmer. I love New England, but I think I just got to get out in the South for a little bit.
Any other personal goals?
I mean, right now, just be happy, live in the moment, stay focused athletically and academically, and yeah.
Perfect. And now the kind of this last topic, this very important one, I'd like to ask you, what are some of your favorite movies?
I think my all-time favorite movie, I will never change my mind on this, is Grown Ups with Adam Sandler and him and his friends. They kind of remind me of me and my friends, just the way that we act. It's goofy, it's fun, it's no stress, no worries in the world, but it's just a great movie, 10 out of 10.
Any others?
That's gotta be the one and only, Grown Ups, Adam Sandler. I mean, there's a ton of movies that I love, but that one's just number one.
You're sticking with that.
I'm stubborn on that one.
I respect it. And overall, Katherine, this is really, really cool to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Would you like to leave the audience with anything before we wrap up things here?
Come watch an acro meet. We have a lot of home games coming up. Our schedule's not out yet, but I'm sure we'll post it.
Awesome.
But come to one.
Perfect. And yeah, I really appreciated the conversation to learn about this sport. That's very new to myself, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers. Cool, the very relaxed vibe from you.
Yep.
And I know that you do things that are very difficult, a sport that's very difficult, and I applaud you for it.
Thank you.
And
appreciate that.
I wish you and the team the best. I'm very excited
to
see what you do. So again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And as always, this is Ryan Zicast for the Zicast, where everyone has a story. Signing off. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.